Sup ninjas, has someone else told you to just go broad? Put all of your ads into just one ad set. Let it consolidate. Trust your budget on the learning phase. Has anyone else told you that? Because let me tell you now, that is complete bullshit, right? So, hi, my name is Mon Agner. I'm the founder of Monroe Digital Marketing Agency, and we've helped real estate sellers close deals from Meta Ads. And we've already done this for multiple brokerages and multiple developers. And we've basically made over 10 billion in sales for our students and clients together. And we're the only ones who have generated over 9 figures in under a month for just a single salesperson. And we've already done that 4 times. Now, we're actually trying to share the system in other lead gen industries so that you can copy our system as well. So if you're one of those people who have been told to just go broad without a care for how much your budget actually is, then you've just essentially wasted money on the so-called learning phase, right? So if you're most businesses, which is what most service business right now are in the beginner stage. So essentially you don't really have a lot of money to waste on ads, right? So you need to make every single cent of your money work the most efficient that it can be, right? That said, let me just go ahead and show you what we got. So this is one of the examples on what we got when we started to become extremely efficient with our ad spend, right? So we've only spent around about 2,500 pesos for this ad spend. So what, that's like essentially less than 50 bucks for this kind of result right here. Dude, no one else is going to give you that kind of case study right there, okay? And this was all because we were making sure that we were very, very strategic yet frugal when it comes to how we're making the learning phase work for us, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the lesson, right? So first, let's talk about the budget, all right? So if you're like most service businesses, you cannot afford to casually spend 40% of your entire budget towards just learning something that you could have excluded before you launched, all right? So here's one of the principles that we use when we are doing targeting, right? So we call it the John Wick principle, all right? So don't use a machine gun when you only have 6 bullets. So that's entirely the mindset to this. So what you want to be is you want to become a sniper with your targeting, right? So the goal isn't maximum reach, right? The goal is intent density. So how much of the money I'm spending is concentrated around the people who could realistically become customers, right? We want to make sure that 100% of our budget is only spent towards those people that we want to really, really target, okay? So we want to be snipers, not people using machine guns. All right, so here's the next thing that you should consider, right? Is the market size. So if your service or product is geographically or market constrained, let's say for example that you have a laundry shop business and typically you'd only prefer to work with people who are at around 5-mile radius or even less. So you tend to need to be just concentrated on just one particular area, right? You don't need to expand to the entire city unless that your operations are able to handle that much amount of complexity. So your advertising should just reflect that, all right? So don't waste your budget targeting the entire country or pretending to be a mass market brand when your actual audience is just narrow and specific. This is not just going towards targeting, but this is also going towards messaging. So you're going to say stuff in your ads like only for this area, serving this area, we specialize around this area. So that's what you should do right there. So next thing is if you have an existing data. So broad targeting only makes sense when your account already has history. So if you've already ran lead campaigns before, conversion campaigns, so you have pixel data, those kinds of signals, right? Because Meta then has the data that it can use to optimize against, right? So if you're using a brand new ad account, right, with no pixel events, no conversions, no inbox, and a very tiny budget, trusting the machine is just giving it a blank sheet of paper with nothing to learn from, right? So that's one of the things that you need to be very, very careful about, right? Again, if you don't have any existing data, please do not go broad at all. It will only hurt your campaigns, right? Next is the offer specificity, right? So the more specific your offer and creatives are, just like what I mentioned earlier, the safer it is to use broad targeting, right? Because the message itself acts as a filter, right? So generic ads give Meta no useful signals, right? which is why highly specific messaging. So let's say, for example, for dental clinic owners in Metro Manila doing 500,000 pesos per month. That's very, very specific. Okay. So if other people read this, dental clinic owners and their taxi company and they're a taxi company operator, all right, they don't bother continue reading of this, okay, because they already know that's not targeted for them. And the Andromeda machine also kind of works that way. Okay, the moment that it reads this type of copy, or if it reads that type of script inside of the video, Andromeda will start kicking in and actually start finding that signal and matching it with a specific target. Okay, so that pretty much automatically excludes irrelevant audiences. In other words, creative is now a form of targeting. Okay, so that's how offer specificity works. Next, let's go with what you should do. Okay, Mon, so yeah, I now need to be careful with my budget. I now know that I need to consider my geographic market audience, and then I need to be careful and try to check if I have data, and I need to make sure that my ads call out to the right audience, right? So what else do I need to do? All right, so for the most specific what to do list, all right? So first and foremost, type geography. Okay, make sure to enter in only the cities, or do a drop in of the location radius that you're able to serve. Okay, just do that and nothing else. Okay, because the more that you stretch out the range of the location, the more that you have to pay for audiences that don't even need to be inside of that targeting. Next, the correct demographics, age range, and language, if that matters. All right, so you can set the language in Meta, and also you have age range as well. Just make sure that you keep it tight, because again, you don't have a huge budget to work with, right? Now, detailed targeting where useful and available. So the one where we use this is, we call this training targeting. So again, we use all three. We use the product or service interest, then we use the market interest, and then lastly, we use behaviors. So we tend to have 3 layers to hit, and that also pretty much depends on the type of market that you're trying to sell to. If you're selling to high end, you typically should expect a lower amount of estimated audience size, and then it starts to get bigger the more that you lower in the market quality. So mid end is a little bit bigger, and then going towards the low end, and then that's going to be a little bit more bigger, and then you get into the mass market, which you don't really need to do a lot of this stuff right here. Okay, but if you need to be really specific, make sure to do those 3 layering. Okay, so next, my most favorite one is custom audiences and lookalike audiences. All right, so this one's essentially the fastest shortcut to get to the type of people that you want to get to. So if you want to learn more about how to set up custom audiences and lookalikes, drop a comment down below. We'll make a video on how to do this one. Right, next, exclusions. So essentially, exclusions are already not available within the audience creation section, but you're still gonna be able to find some sort of exclusions inside of the advertising settings layer. All right, and then the last one is creative pre-qualification. So when you say creative pre-qualification, it's just calling out to the most specific customer avatar that you have. So for example, this one right here, for dental clinic owners in Metro Manila doing 500,000 a month. Okay, so that is pre-qualification, right? So if you're not that, do not inquire. Okay, that is basically the things that you should do if you have a low budget. Again, do not start going broad, okay, because we want to make sure that we are protecting our budget right here. So next, things to consider. Okay, so you should not be micromanaging your ads right over here. So don't set up multiple ad sets. You don't have enough money to start, so just start with 1 or 2. That's already more than enough, right? Don't try to change your interests every 6 hours. The moment that you just make sure that you're really dialed in here and mostly here, you're not really gonna need to do much interest changing anymore, right? So turning things off when you get nervous. So if you start to see that you're still not getting enough leads, so if you start running a campaign and just suddenly get nervous, you want to try to do some things right here, just let it run, okay? Because if you did this correctly, the learning period will kick in and will be a lot more effective. Okay, so again, make sure that you're capital efficient first. So also you have to consider this thing, how the metrics also change. Okay, so this might be one of the things that will get you nervous. So let's say, for example, you did an A/B test between just broad and doing stuff like this. So doing stuff like this, of course, it constrains the algorithm a lot, because You're not giving it a lot of data or room to work around. So you're also going to tend to get a lot more expensive cost per lead, cost per message, or cost per result with this type of setup versus a broad setup. But you have to also think about the quality of the leads that you're going to be able to generate. Okay, so a 15 pesos cost per lead is useless if it doesn't buy. Okay, versus 150, the 10x growth, 150 pesos lead, but they're willing to drop 500,000 right away. I'm sure you'd take that right away, any day, right? And yeah, that is how to manage your campaign with a low budget. So let me just go back here again. So this ad, we only got 2 leads right here in the 5-day period. If I started to panic and just started to just change things around because we're not getting any leads, and if I started to give a fuck about our 1,000 peso cost per lead, we would have not gotten this sale right here. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why you need to make sure that, one, you really need to just trust the process right over here. Okay, and cost per lead is not everything right here. Okay, so yeah, with that said, I hope that you learned a lot from this. So yeah, if you want to learn more about our 8 to 9 figure lead gen system, go ahead and check out our Ninja Ads community in school. There's a link down in the description below. And also, if you want our team to be the ones doing this system for you, go ahead and book a call in our website on row.com. Just click this link and schedule your appointment with us, and we'll see you in that call. Now, if you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to give us a like and sub. And also check this video right here to see how we actually get people to message our ads just by using the 3-point USP extraction framework.